numbers in my phone that'll never ring again. Cause a lot done sent them home and they'll never, I got numbers on my phone that'll never ring again. Cause a lot will call them home. So until we sing again, I got texts in my phone that'll never ping again. I screenshot them so I got them. I don't want this thing to... I got numbers in my phone that'll never ring again. I got...
Thomas.
Accountability! Accountable!
So let's talk about how Senor Thomas, aka Candidate Beats, aka 50. You ain't gonna play your birthday song either? Because I feel like you gotta I feel like there is a...
Is it on here?
I thought it was. I saw it on there before.
I heard it.
I heard it before too. Okay, but anyways, we got getting sidetracked over here. Welcome everyone to another episode of Spiritual Alchemist podcast. Tom, you throwing me off.
I'm sorry.
He
Accountability! Accountable!
Go.
There you go.
Go, show.
I mean, it's
always it's gonna be my birthday forever.
it really is.
I apologize with the sad music. The sad music is my fault.
Yeah, he picked the wrong song for us to come in on.
My phone,
so now he's gonna make my conversation go into a completely other direction again. But
no,
that's
I'm here to bring it to life.
To bring him back.
See?
That sounded real like 70s porn-ish, and I don't like it.
I'm bringing it back to life.
That's era right there.
I guess.
Had a storyline.
Yeah, I mean, could follow what was going on. So, I guess so. Why not?
Storyline and body hair. What a wonderful time.
But it's okay, Tom. We still love you.
I apologize for the sad intro music. We always have a thematic song that comes with the topic, but sometimes I don't get the topic until we down here, so it's kind of hard to kind of be prepared. So
it happens sometimes, and sometimes we're talented.
We can sing it.
We could, but I mean, if you want to, you can go ahead.
I'm retiring my singing because I've been told I sang too much.
We can't. No, we can't do that. No,
done.
No.
It's over.
No, he'll, ladies and gentlemen, y'all, everyone. He'll be singing next week.
I can't help it. I can't help but sing.
Exactly. That's, you got a voice for a reason, so go ahead and use it.
God gave me that voice. I just don't do karaoke.
You know what? I really need you to stop lying to the people, because I've seen a whole video of you doing karaoke on the book. So
that was hip hop karaoke.
Is the word karaoke not in?
But I wasn't singing. I was rapping. Singing karaoke. Yeah. Okay. I don't do singing karaoke.
Singing.
I have done singing karaoke. I don't enjoy doing singing.
Why do you say it like that?
Singing, because that's what they be doing. They be singing. They don't be singing. They be singing. They be singing.
You know what, y'all? Let's try to get to the topic here.
Hey, this happened when you turn 50. You just
he has just been talking.
Just get ornery and just don't care.
Just like once that ARP just hit, he just just going in the whole.
I just do shit like this. Just get up and walk.
I can't deal with him anymore, y'all. All right, well, as we are here and getting back into the swing of things, first of all, another accountability because we've been gone for a little while, so I'm just happy to be back. Happy that we can go ahead and dive into these conversations that definitely need to be had. So I am, of course, your host, Sarita Valmont, owner of I'm Chronically Resilient as well. Chronic pain coach, wellness advisor, Reiki energy healer, author. Let's see here. I don't know where else to go. Just award-winning author, I should say, with that part as well too. So just all the different accolades. Plus, that's what she said on Jam 98.3. So I mean, all those different arenas and areas. And so I wanted to have an area where you can get to know more about myself and, how I think. Because you might be wondering, okay, well, how did she get to this conclusion? And it's like, well, let me tell you the background. Let me go ahead and share that. But then also to give a spot for people that may feel like they're not being heard, and giving them the opportunity to share, because that's one big thing that nowadays we truly really need community, so we can go ahead and work through all the bullshit going on and be able to heal and just get to self mastery. So with that being said, I have my partner in crime over here, the fellow backyard again, Mr. Essential, when he is present, because he has not been present for the last 2 episodes, and that's why we just now here. But I'm not holding on to that.
You seem to be holding on to that. So one episode I was. Oh, wait, was it Father's Day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one episode was Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
The next episode I was out of town.
Mm-hmm.
The next episode it was my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I'm still celebrating that birthday.
As long as it's cancer season, he is still
cancer season. As long as it's July, because it starts off early July, where I start, winding up. I don't always celebrate it. This year I celebrated big for the 50th, and I thank all those people who did take part and came. Thank you for being there. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the LL Cool J and Run DMC and Queen Latifah.
Yeah, Rev Run. And that's what we telling the kids that who we are, so that y'all know who we are.
I had a ball, and I appreciate it, and I'm gonna keep on. And every time I was at Brownstone yesterday helping a friend record a podcast, and there's a couple people there that owed me. They said they owe me a drink, and I didn't take it. I didn't take the drink because I'm done now.
Because you got to recover from a week ago.
I have 19 40 ounces left because I was too drunk to pass them out at the party. So
yeah, I was wondering where mine was. So
yeah. If you want me to deliver yours, I can deliver yours.
Hey, why not? I've
you
never had
the 40 ounce.
I don't know. I might use it for cooking.
It's 42 ounces. Actually, I'm going to be using some for some bratwurst later on, but it ain't that many bratwursts in the world.
It's not. How'd you think about, like, you have to have like four 12 packs or whatever them big, like the big ones are.
Tone said bring them to the kickback.
See, that's what. Thinking what you're knocking.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna have I have to keep this svelte body together. You see my
yeah, I saw that. You look like you needed to breathe, my guy.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one I took my shirt off.
Yeah, right. When you had the washboard abs and everything.
Flex, I drink all those,
You was giving Terry Crews. You was definitely giving Terry Crews. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but I had a good time, and the alcohol was flowing. They don't let you stay sober on your birthday, but I'm happy to be here.
And I have a few videos that I can also use to blackmail him if need be. So hopefully I don't have to do that, because Tommy and I have been very good friends for quite some time. So thinking that's not going to be an issue.
I think I'll be good.
Well, that's appreciated. And of course, we definitely have a guest here as well, which you might have actually seen us together yesterday, causing a ruckus on Kenda's podcast, Mind of My Own. But now we had to go ahead and, continue the conversation. Actually, he was supposed to be on here in the past and was, unfortunately was ill, which it happens. We are human. And so we got to make sure we're taking care of ourselves and getting back. And this is definitely a person that knows how to bounce back, for real. So without further ado, I will go ahead and just toss the mic right on over and go ahead and introduce yourself fully.
All right. Well, to those who don't know me, my name's Darrell Jefferson. I am a mental health advocate, author of 12 Steps to Becoming Your Own Dope, available on Amazon. I also published a 30-day gratitude workbook challenge, which has gratitude journal prompts, has a mood tracker, different coloring pages, and even gratitude quotes, just to help you take 30 days of intentional cultivation of a attitude of gratitude. Then I'm also a licensed hemp processor that makes CBD cigars, different CBD infused health and beauty products, as well as the CBD infused bath soaks and salts that I make.
feel like there's still more, but that's okay. But no, I'm just really happy to have you here because I mean, this is one of those conversations that, I love to have, the male perspective on, because oftentimes, we kind of come from just being in ourselves or quote unquote being in your body and not really, having those conversations and talking about the things that might have, came up along the way when you were growing up. And so this kind of, this whole topic kind of came up for me is because I actually finished reading the book, which I have the workbook here in front of me, Your Body's Not an Apology, and by Sonia Renee Taylor. And when I started to read this book, I barely got through the first chapter. When she was in the middle of the first chapter, she was discussing a situation that happened to her when she was 10. If I would have had my eyes closed, I would have thought she was talking about me. It was a situation that had happened, with family where they're just, discussing me starting to come into womanhood and that I'm, getting curvy and I'm getting fat. And hearing that for the first time really kind of put me into a tailspin when it comes to my body image. And so that lasted for about almost close to 40 years that I was going through, trying to figure out, my own relationship with my body. And so it was really amazing to see some things that I was already incorporating into my life, but then it kind of took it even deeper when I read this book. And so when I went through that process, like I said, I first had to kind of unpack some of the stuff that happened to me because I was like, wait a minute, did this lady know me? The way that she just kind of was breaking that whole story down. I'm like, man. But then I also know too that I'm not alone, that there's so many, women, even, men as well too, non-binary, trans, the whole, spectrum. Hey, Kenda. And so, looking at all that and seeing it and being like, okay, now this is giving me additional perspective, but also then recognizing too, a lot of it is information that was, truly passed down to us. And then us trying to figure out, where we kind of fall in the mix. And so that's why I really wanted to go ahead and just kind of bring this, this conversation up and just really, kind of start off with saying, when it comes to, looking back, when would you say was the first time you kind of started to recognize, the type of relationship that you had, with your body?
You know what? I guess for me, I would probably say maybe round about 11. You know what I'm saying? As I started getting heavier, just noticing shit that I would now think about that I didn't think about before, like having a shirt on in the damn pool or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Looking back, now shit, I just Rick Ross it. You know what I'm saying? Right. But looking back, there was a time that shit, if I ain't have a t-shirt, I was gonna have a beater or a tank top or something. And I think the earliest I was actually conscious of the possibility of being insulted was round about 11.
Okay. Wow. And that's the thing. It's for me, I want to say it was actually about the age of 9. Oh, okay. So it's definitely a lot sooner. And I think it's just because I was a taller child, okay, and also, being a girl that started to develop at that same age as well, too. Okay. That's when I started hearing those conversations starting to be had. But it was it wasn't loud though. So it wasn't one of those things where it's I kind of could hear it a little bit, but not, not so, so far. But let me see here. Let me put the comment on the screen. Sorry. It's okay. I know you got thrown off. Okay, Kenneth says, I was 12 and experienced an injury from a sledding accident and affected my back. Now I have scoliosis. Kids made fun of me because of my new walk. See? And that's another thing too. She was mentioning things like that in the book, along with a girl that her mom used to braid her hair, and her mom would braid her hair so tight that she started to have bald spots in her head from her, so basically traction alopecia from her, pulling so hard. Yeah. And so, like, the kids would be sitting there, talking about her, calling her, like Brenda No Edges and all, kinds of things like that. And it's like when you sit back and think about the stuff that, we also did too, because I felt we're all guilty of it, that, we catch, catch a beat, and then all of a sudden we just kind of go with, all the other kids. But I feel like that's where, oftentimes it happens either with when you're with your family, or when you're basically out around kids. Yes, they are bogus. Because I'm like, man, like,
I think the worst thing that ever happened to and it's probably the reason why it's the worst time of your life, is middle school, and they start making you change for gym flying. That's basically that's where mine was. I just remember that, like, that never having to disrobe in front of other people ever. And all of a sudden you sitting in like, wait, I didn't prepare for this.
Exactly.
Mentally or like with clothes or whatnot. Like, what are you changing into stuff?
Right. And there's like only 2 bathrooms. So it's not like we all can go into the bathroom and change our clothes and everything as well too.
Right here. And then you're supposed to go take a shower.
Right. In front of everybody. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, make it make sense.
Yeah. So that made adolescent. I mean, the worst time is your adolescent development at 12, still just now turning into a person who actually understands sarcasm and not understanding sarcasm, because some people were still terrible at it. So they were just mean, trying to be funny, but it's just rude as fuck. But that's the worst time to actually be doing that.
Yeah, and Ken just said I hated that time. And yeah, I would agree too. That was definitely like that 6th grade. Like right when you're going into middle school, it'd be like the next time. So it's like if
your body changing, and now you're changing clothes to watch, so everybody can see your body changing.
Exactly.
right.
And that's the thing. And if you like for women, going in your cycle and stuff too.
Right.
That's a whole other layer, on top of that, and having accidents at school and all those things like that, and being teased about that. So it's
one thing though that helped us, and I was just talking about this with somebody. It was a blessing to actually go from an elementary school to a middle school to a high school, because you had chances to reinvent yourself. You know what I'm saying? To understand what to do, what not to do when you go into that next school, So now there's schools with these children going from like K5 to 12.
Yeah.
And it's like that girl who may have had a hygiene issue as she just learned herself in the 6th grade.
Oh wow, yeah.
She needed the opportunity to lead at whatever Fishy Frida name back in middle school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She ain't need to be at the same school all them years, but that's one thing I'm thankful for. Is we had
the transition period.
The transition instead of these schools that just taking them from kindergarten on up.
Yeah, no, I agree. Kenda's saying I also used to stuff my bra in elementary, laughing my ass off because I was later than the other girls with developing them. Yeah. See, I was definitely the opposite.
Look at y'all now.
Yeah, now we're all grown up.
Y'all all grown up. Have you ever seen the Netflix cartoon Big Mouth?
I've seen a couple episodes because I watched it here with Tone.
Okay, it's definitely playing on this topic from the perspective of a cartoon, but it has a puberty as like a monster, like an imaginary monster, and actually being the inner thoughts of a child that's 11 or 12 years old.
Okay, yeah,
it's literally hilarious. It's probably inappropriate. You definitely do not let your kids, watch it, but it puts you in the mindset of being in middle school all over again.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like the most inappropriate part of middle school,
right?
Like, not like middle school is, but it's spot on in a lot of cases.
Yeah, that was some wild times, man. Just as you get older and think about it, and then like how you think about how as people get more comfortable within themselves, they even stop lying about doing shit that everybody do. But like in middle school, people will fight you.
Right.
If you even insinuated that they explored with they self type shit. You know what I'm saying? But then as you get older, it's like, man, shit. It's keep me from making bad decisions.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Like it's part of creative exchanges
type
shit.
In 6th grade told me he had slept with this chick and stayed over his house, and he put his penis inside her vagina and it got stuck. And so ever since then I was thinking, damn, I don't want to get stuck.
See?
You must have been watching some dogs or some shit.
Right.
Right?
It swole up and got stuck. I was like, oh wow, that's scary.
Not swole up and got stuck.
Right. I don't want no coochie.
Wow.
Like, I'm okay.
That's what happened.
That is funny. But that's the thing. I was like, we just have those conversations and be talking to each other. Don't be knowing what the hell we talking about, just making up whatever we heard or thought we heard.
Trying to be cool and
Mhm.
impressing somebody else, lying like a motherfucker.
Well, it does affect your relationship with your body at that point,
Mhm.
because now
Right.
you're catfishing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about that AI stuff. Like,
Mhm.
definitely changes your perspective of yourself and actually puts you in a mindset of what you think you would like your body to look like, or what you think you would like to look like.
Right.
Or maybe not even want to look like, because it could
Mhm.
also be doing the flip side of things as well too. Like, oh, I do not want to look like that.
Right.
So
right,
Yeah.
right.
to be able to go ahead and look at both sides of it. But I noticed that I was seeing for some of the people that I know that are plus size people, that they were purposely making them thin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can see what I look like in this picture,
Mm-hmm.
and you still are going to go ahead and make me look thin.
Mhm.
Like, that's what you think I want to be like. And I feel like that's part of like with what we're talking about, looking at your relationship with your body. Because what if that's a person that, low key does feel like that's how they're supposed to be, and they've been trying, they've been doing everything,
Mhm.
and they can't get to that spot.
Well, I heard some of the comments were like, whoa, let me get back in the gym. Let me get back to my,
Right.
Now, because the idea is to, it's kind of scary that's
Right.
the motivation. Like, it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Literally
It's
cartoon.
it's literally a
a
caricature.
caricature of you.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, I
Yeah.
make jokes about it because I do that stuff anyway. I put my head on anybody
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
So see that stuff is really funny. So to actually have somebody do it way better than I can do it, I'm like,
Right.
oh, let me see what this look like.
Right. You're like, oh, okay, I can
But I
use
just be
this
having
now.
fun with it. But to see that people think it's them. Like, I'm looking at the comments of mine. People like asking me about like this and that, and I'm like, dude, it's not me. Like,
Right.
why is your foot
Like, what-
pointed that way? Nigga, I didn't
Right.
pose.
Like, why you got a lobster hand? That's not my hand. Like,
it must be a lobster hand. That's why.
Yeah, it's all good if they having fun, but you definitely don't want it to add to the already epidemic of like body dysmorphia and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I seen people like, oh, this motivated me to unbig my back, and it's like, I definitely understand. Shit. I mean, COVID probably did a lot of us dirty. You know what I'm saying? I in my book I talk about going from like 352 pounds down to 225. But 2 years of COVID, I done found about 70 of them pounds back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the reality is, if I did do the AI shit and you see me all cut up as a mature ass man, I know that would never be without surgery. Cause shit, even if I did lose weight, I got skin. You know what I'm saying? So
well, it also depends, because everybody's skin is different. It
I
might
mean,
actually,
definitely.
bounce back more than you think, especially depending upon like how quickly and everything that you do
It's
it.
the speed of it.
So,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but for everybody, that ain't gonna be the case.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just don't want people to get wrapped up in the illusion of, and then
And the vanity.
holding themselves to that fucked up standard. We already got people losing their mind trying to hold themselves to that American standard. So now if they try to hold themselves up to the standard of a fantasy,
right.
Like I said, as long as it's fun and motivating, cool, but don't get wrapped up in the illusion.
No, absolutely. Because I mean, I've seen people that were also using it for headshots,
Mhm.
which I can see that being, something like, hey, if you're in between and not able to necessarily get professional ones,
Right.
but then at the same time, I feel like that could potentially also hurt that industry too. As far as the photographers, like now being like, well, do I need to, how do I want to go ahead and work this angle? Because that's just another thing that could be, affecting their bottom line.
Well, the extreme exaggeration of an AI is the kicker that actually makes the value of a real photographer be more valuable, because a photographer can take your picture and touch you up a little bit, but it's still closer to you than it is the AI picture. You know what I'm saying? It's still your hair.
Yeah.
It's still your skin. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's still, you still got the crooked eye. If your eye get crooked, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna change any of that. But the idea of going into it to kind of trick people into believing that she was scary. That's the scary thing.
Yeah.
Well, I joked about it saying, catfishing might be at an all-time high.
I said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's over for catfishing.
It might be at an all-time high.
No more angles. You don't have to you ain't got to take no picture angles no more. Just get,
Right,
just get an
right.
app. Just get an app.
Well, then what you gonna do? You gonna send that person when it's time to meet up?
Well, you know what? People still do that. They do that right now with some of the filters. The filter is that was the AI, pre-AI.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, I will agree with that because
Yeah.
I mean, it just really depends, and even with me, like, it depends on like the lighting for me if I'm gonna use the filter or not. Because if the lighting's right, like right now,
you like
Tom did this thing with the lighting today. He came here.
I like it like it is.
I'm like, hey, I'm like, all right. I said I liked it like it was, and then he's like, well, watch this. He hit me with the usher, and then he came back with the extra light. I'm like, okay, let's see how you.
I look out for you.
When you come through, you do.
When I get here, except for the music, that's all right.
When you attend, you do well.
Hey, I'm back. My PTO is used up.
It really is. I don't think you got nothing left until the holidays, to be quite honest.
This was a holiday, nigga.
I'm saying the next set.
Okay. All right.
Talking about the national.
Oh, okay. The national holiday. Yeah. No, but when people I'll be out somewhere and people hey, take a picture with me. And they take a picture and I'll go look at it online. I'm like, damn, my skin is silky smooth in a bitch. Like, what
like the one I took with us because I already knew that lighting was bad. I was like, let me go ahead and throw this filter on here.
Got me with eyelashes and shit. Like,
no, I did not get you eyelashes this time. I did make sure that the beard was bearding though. It was definitely looking luxurious, so I had to make sure he was good.
Yeah, it's got my Teddy P. That's always been the goal since Teddy P.
You see, there you go.
Since those days, man.
Only took you 50 years to get there,
right?
But you're there.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, just really looking at, like you said, how AI is affecting things, and then even, of course, we know that the fitness industry is, off the chain as far as how much money they're trying to make, especially even with the verbiage of how they're talking about things. Whether it's lifestyle change or diet or all these different words that they're coming up with, and then looking at how it's still, once again, I feel like it's almost like working hand in hand because just like how you said, and as I was mentioning too, how you're seeing these people are showing them like thin bodies and everything like that, basically the quote unquote European standard,
right.
Of how they're wanting things to be, and it's like, nah. And we have to be able to go ahead and kind of look back even at ourselves and see, what have we contributed to this too?
Right. I mean, we all, I believe, we just been indoctrinated. You know what I'm saying? What we see from what they say from the third trimester of pregnancy until the age of 7, you operate at a hypnosis theta brainwave. So you just purely downloading what you see. So I had to be mindful of that when, like, with my little girl, I got 3 girls, 13, 8, and 4. And my 8-year-old, she used to watch like Disney Channel, shit like that. So back in the day, my lady used to wear wigs, and stuff. So my daughter used to want to wear her blonde wigs and stuff. And she was like, well, I just want to look like, Sophia the First or whatever the fuck, whoever they was on there. But so I've always been mindful of teaching, like as a father, teaching my daughters positive self-image, because I understand once they go out there, they out there. Right. But I got up until the age of 7 to damn near not brainwash them, but program that understanding in their head, so we always sit down and watch every year we sit down and watch Good Hair, that documentary by Chris Rock, just shit like that, for colored girls, shit like that, so that they understand. Because if they look at the TV, all they gonna see, as kids, all they gonna see is little white kids. Yeah. Then as adolescents or teenagers, all they gonna see is video hoes, or now the Instagram models. Right. You know what I'm saying? I think the video hoes gone, pretty much. But so the social media influencers, and then the older women, I don't know what the fuck they got, with Cosmo or something. But either way, either way it goes, it's always something manipulating your idea of what the standard of a self-image is. So I just try to counteract that with all the time I get.
So go with that thought and then think, because this morning on the Canned Beats breakfast sandwich, practically every morning at 9 a.m.
when he shows up. But continue.
Look here, I got a busy schedule.
Accountability. Accountable.
Forget it, I don't want to talk about it. No, this morning I was talking about my trip to Maryland and the perception that I have of the Black communities that are in like DC area, and then comparing that with the communities in the Atlanta area that are all Black. And my question was, if somebody in DC in these predominantly Black communities that are pretty, I guess they're prosperous, affluent families and whatnot, moved to Milwaukee and said, "I'm going to move to Milwaukee." What community would they go to that would look like that community? And it was kind of like you almost have to
create your own.
You have to either create your own, but in the midst of you coming to a city you've never been to, you're going to an area that has people that I guess financially and monetarily meet your lifestyle. They're living a lifestyle. So you're going to be living somewhere near the suburbs or in the suburbs, which are predominantly white here. There are no Black ones. Add the fact that you have children and you send those children to those schools,
Right.
And then you have that lifestyle and that culture that they're influenced by. And the other option is what? To be in Milwaukee in an all Black neighborhood that is probably socioeconomically less than what your standards are, and the school system and all that, then the culture of that.
Right,
so what are you going to expose your children to? So
or even going a step further, private school.
Right.
As well.
And private school is you're still the minority.
Level.
Where in an area like DC, the private school is predominantly Black, the school district is predominantly Black, the community is predominantly Black. There's 60% Black community. Like that's the original Chocolate City. And it was like I said, it was a different affluency. It's not that, and not to put people down in Atlanta. I think that Atlanta, Dallas, Texas kind of thing is like it's a different community of people.
I can kind of say it like kind of looks to me as far as like new money versus old money.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's what I'm. That's what I would
the generational, like the people I saw were like our grandparents bringing us
into it,
and going on a trip with my grandparents and me bringing my kid. I mean, that was like 3 generations of families on this resort. Like, I'm like, dog, this is incredible. Well, I saw a group of Black people riding the bikes. They all had the biking stuff. They had helmets and they had the really expensive $1,000 bikes riding up a hill. And I was like,
oh, the Treks.
Yeah, like the Treks and the Specialized. And they got the, and it was like 15, 20 of them. Like, so when they come to Milwaukee, say, I got transferred to Milwaukee, where are they going to find that bike group?
Right.
And they don't have the same social circle. You have to send your kids to the area that's predominantly white, which is going to influence them and influence the way they look at themselves, look at their hair, look at their body, their dress, all this stuff.
Going through all that right now.
And then you hang around with the Black. I mean, this is my life. Going back to the Black people say, we talk white kind of thing. And then all of a sudden you're thinking how you talk and how you interact. I've heard that all my life. And it's a terrible thing to be Black. But then also, if you have persevered and come through, it's a beautiful thing because you've actually seen all the sides of life to actually be able to maneuver. So there's some benefits. That was a long explanation, but I just wanted to make sure I said it because
thank you for bringing us
full
circle.
Full circle. Yeah, I mean, it had a purpose, but I just wanted to make sure. You talk about your kids and watching Disney. It's not just watching Disney; it's actually going to school with them all day. My kids went to Menominee Falls from like kindergarten to high school.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, they have no choice.
Yeah, mine are Brookfield. And so that's like one of the top school districts in the state. And it's like, it is very, very white. And then after that, it's Middle Eastern, as far as for, Pacific Islander.
And then some of us put the pressure of, all right, so you ain't going to date a white person, are you? Somebody just made a point about that, about LeBron James taking a white girl to prom. LeBron James' son taking Bronny taking saying he goes to a private school that's 4% Black.
Right. And the other percentage is his sister. So how you gonna he can't date his sister.
Right. So what are you gonna do? He had no options. So
it's a lot of pressures on the Black man, but pressure make diamonds,
It definitely does.
That's just how that shit goes.
But now the good thing is that for women, like the whole being curvy and curvaceous is actually the thing that's to be, which back when I was growing up, that wasn't. That wasn't what white people saw as something that was attractive.
Right. But on the flip side of that, though, too, I mean, now it's looking a little bit better. But even going back, we have to look at the decades, though, that have affected women, that now they also still have those thoughts, and they still kind of, you know, are passing them down to their children as well, too, because they're watching what the kids, you know, what the moms are doing. So yes and no. Because like now I can say, wow, I'm actually am seeing people that look more like me, but still don't look like me, but still like, you know, feel like, oh, okay. You know, I'm seeing that, you know, to be able to go ahead and kind of embrace different things. But initially, I mean, like I said, it took me close to 40 years to actually finally be like, wow, I love myself. Wow, I don't, you know, want to always cover myself up all the time, or, you know, but that also came from, once again, you know, being in situations where I didn't have a voice, and I didn't also know how to communicate, and I didn't know what to really say. So I just kind of would take it. And so now that I know better, of course, the saying goes, you know better, you do better.
Right.
And so now I'm able to go ahead and, you know, use those tools now and be like, well, you know what? No, this is not how you're going to talk to me. This is not how we're going to, you know, like basically setting those boundaries and setting the tone. So in that way, you know how to respect me, because I think it's really funny now from people that might have knew me back, you know, back when I was before, you know, my journey, my healing journey and everything, and up until now, where they'll say to me, like, you know, who do you date or whatever, because it look like it's hard for a man to be like around you, or like you know, saying, like, making little comments and things that are saying, like, you a high value woman. Like, it was just kind of funny to me, because we always hear about the high value man, but then I hear like, well, you a high value woman. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I should be, though. Like, I feel like we all should be high value. Like, I mean, you should really be, you know, have your stuff together if you're gonna be coming to talk to somebody. But that's, you know, neither here nor there. But, you know, but just to kind of say that, you know, there's a lot of pieces that are involved when you are looking at your body image. And granted that, you know, we are seeing more things on television to kind of have more representation too, but it's still so much further to go.
I think that now that I am 50 and kind of embracing the fact that, you know, the dad bod is where it's at. I mean, that's what it is. I can definitely do the drastic change. I've done the drastic weight loss. Not drastic, but the major number switch from like 30-40 pounds at a time at one point, and doing it healthily. And the pandemic did change that. It does like make you a little self-conscious, even dating a little bit, like dating, like, yeah, I'm not built like Idris, you know what I'm saying? I'm not Morris Chestnut. I mean, we are the same age. These cats, like, that's, you know, they got they got
personal trainers,
nutritionists, chocolate goddess bodies and shit. And I'm who I am. This is what you're gonna get, kind of thing. So it does change your perspective of how you approach some women, because you're thinking what they perceive as attractive is not what you bring to the table.
But then that sounds more of a you thing.
Absolutely.
So then it's like, what would you want to? Do you want to change that? Is more or less the question.
I mean, for myself, I mean, I probably would like at one point I could stay in a certain shape because I had to wear suits all the time, and I like to wear a suit fit, and I wanted to go. That was my only goal.
Oh, like the AI do? Like
no, no, that suit was young as fuck. Like,
yeah,
it was way
you
too.
look like you was really struggling to breathe.
I'll never wear a suit that tight in my life. Like, nut huggers.
Like please unbutton it. Just
right.
Bing.
No, but I like the way I would like it to sit in a fashion that doesn't like hug me and whatnot.
Philip Michael Thomas.
I'm trying to think who wears a nice suit. So there's a couple people who wear a nice suit. The way you tell is really is custom made really well.
But The Rock.
Duh, swole up. See that? I mean, these are the images. I mean, just like women have, like this like when men say what they want for a woman, and it ends up being like, oh, these women that are like outstandingly curvaceous and beautiful. Same thing for women, like The Rock. I ain't never gonna be The Rock in my life.
Be the Pebble. What's wrong? It's wrong being the Pebble. You know.
But my motivation is to actually wear certain clothing. But ultimately, where certain clothing comes with, what you feel and what you look like with the clothing on and who you attract. So it's full circle. So it is a me thing. It absolutely is a me thing. So am I happy with? I am. I'm not as extremely happy as I would like to be. My relationship is more so where my man said, like, yeah, I'm gonna keep my shirt on. I'm good. I'm not Rick Rossing it yet.
Nah.
Nah, not yet.
Man, shit.
It might be coming.
mean,
It might be. It's gonna be like what in the 90s, like next week again. Like you might want to rethink that.
I definitely don't give a fuck right now. I'm 50. I mean, I'm definitely in that. Whatever. I'm in that stage.
I think what helped me out is that because like I probably started gaining weight around about probably like 8. I think before that I was outside catching snakes, finding bugs, climbing trees, shit like that. Round about Sega Genesis time.
Sega.
Right. Around about Sega Genesis and Mortal Kombat. That's when I started getting husky and shit. But what helped me out, because throughout high school, I was very insecure. Well, shit. Throughout middle school and high school, I probably was insecure to the point, honestly, girls used to approach me and I'd be like, nah, baby, what would your friends say if they see you fucking with a fat nigga? And I was rejecting women because of my own personal self-image. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was around about after high school, that summer right before college, I just started. It was fucked up while I started working out. Like I didn't feel safe at home, and I was like, I never raise my hands in disrespect. But if I ever have to get this motherfucker off me, it's gonna be a well whooped ass that I'm delivering type shit. So I started jumping rope. I started jumping rope and doing push-ups. I remember that shit, and I graduated high school 305. I got down to about 240 before I went to college.
Wow.
So then, so that was the summer. So that just show you, like, I was like, man, this motherfucker ever, if I ever gotta whoop this motherfucker ass, it's gonna be, but that it was wild. So my motivation's been wild too. But I was able to do that, and when I did that, I just seen them coming out the woodwork, and real shit. For a second, it made me jaded. Like, I had to lose 60 motherfucking pounds
for you to see me.
Yeah, but
you didn't see me before.
Like, but then I had to remind myself, nah, nigga, you had to lose 60 motherfucking pounds for you to see you. You was rejecting people before. So I think what helped me is I realized that no matter what size I am, my mind and my mouth is the same. And that's what people tend to be attracted to. So, and then, like, even growing up, it was because you hear women talk about tall, dark, and handsome. Shit, I'm like 5'6", 5'7" in shoes. I've always been light skinned, always been husky since Sega. but I've also had Heavy D growing up. I've also had Prince Marky D growing up. I had cats in school that were my size or maybe a little smaller, and they were just some smooth ass dudes. When I went to Morris, my nigga Fred Sanders or Trax.
Trax, yeah.
Yeah, we went to school together.
Okay.
He's always been like that.
Oh, that's how we always.
He's always been a smooth ass dude. And at one point in time, we were the same size type shit. So I've had examples. My homie Tim Brown went to Morris and King with me. Always was a heavy dude that presented himself nicely and was confident. So those were people. It was like, damn, they so dope. But then it took till college to realize, nah, nigga, what make them dope is their confidence,
right,
and their acceptance of themselves. So now, whether my weight fluctuate or not, like I said, I found 70 of them pounds during COVID, but I just dropped another 20. So I'm like, shit, I'm gonna slow poke this shit back down to, So I appreciate that. But that's what helped me. Like, all right, your mind and your mouth is always the same.
Yeah. No, and I definitely agree with that as well too. And that's something that's still, though, having to, find your voice and then being able to find, that inner fire, as well too, to be able to develop that confidence. Because that's something that I definitely agree with you on that. Like, I've even we're looking at pictures because, like I've mentioned, for me, I've been battling my size from like 10 up until like shit almost like a year ago. Like, you know, like for real. Like I'm being very dead, you know, dead honest, because I couldn't see myself all the way. And I would even often ask people, like, you know, what is it that you're seeing in me? And they be like, I don't understand why you can't see
wild,
what I'm seeing in you. And I'm just like, damn. And then we finally sit down and think about you, like, you know, I'm like, you're right. Like I am this person, like I am.
Right.
And then on top of that, it's like, then you start thinking about the other stuff on top of that as well too. And you're like, you know what? I really need to have a better relationship with myself.
Right.
And, you know, work on that. Like even when it comes to, because of course thoughts will always creep up and be like, oh, why are you doing that? Who you think you are? You know, all those kind of things. I'm like, well, wait a minute. And then of course I always go back and I'll reframe it, or I'll go back and say, okay, let's look at this, or let's examine where is this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why is this happening right now? Did something trigger you?
Right,
you know,
right.
to make you want to think that way. And so once I'm able to go ahead and kind of look at that and look at it that way, then I'm like, okay, you know, now I'm seeing what it really is. It's just that it was other people's limited beliefs that they're putting on me were just kind of like playing in the back of my mind and playing in my head. And so knowing that that's not really my thoughts.
Right.
And being able to, you know, cultivate, like I said, cultivate that relationship with self.
It's that programming that you get up until the age of 7. And it's the unfortunate thing. Like I'm thankful as a parent now. I've learned about the subconscious. You know, I've gotten interested in psychology now, so it helps me with my children and try to just be more mindful of what I say in front of them, what I say to them, what I do. Like, because now I think about like women who, you know, and by all means, do what you need to do to make you happy. But if you're not happy with your butt because it's flat, and you go ahead and do whatever you feel you need to do you have any daughters that you leaving with a flat butt? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna turn around to love yourself. Hey, mama, I used to be shaped like you till you
went and did that.
You know what I'm saying? So
hey, flat booties matter.
Hey, man, I love
booties, man. No,
I love women. I just as a Taurus, I love variety. Like shit. I've learned to appreciate and love air, shape, and size. You know, because they all come with their perks. I mean, shit, small titties long. I mean, it's just all they all got their benefits, and they all got their things that's fun about them.
And it's really just, and honestly, at the end of the day, too, we are all people, but of course, we also have to look at everybody's experience.
Right.
I never, you know, look away from that, because I think often, you know, kind of going back to, you know, what we're talking about with the kids being at the predominantly white schools and things like that, that's really where the beauty standards had originally come from. Right. And so, you know, all of us that if we weren't the, you know, tall, thin, blonde, blue-eyed, you know, person, then we're trying to look at, okay, well, how can we get closer to that particular standard?
Yeah.
And even with how things were divided amongst us, like even going back to slavery,
right?
How they're trying to, you know, put us against each other, you know, light skinned in the house, you know,
right.
Dark as in the field, you know, kind of looking at all those things like that too. It's a lot to digest and kind of go back through. And I think often we don't. And then we just, you know, kind of think, oh, well, everybody has some sort of an issue with themselves. You know, we all ain't perfect, but then it's like, well,
that's why they gotta learn that shadow work. They gotta do the digging. They gotta do the work. They gotta, you know, it's like peeling back that skin with that needle to get to that splinter. You gotta do it to figure out that little ass shit was causing me this much pain. That's what you gotta do.
And then once you got it out, now you go ahead and you watch it heal.
Right.
I'm sorry, I just got some bad news.
Oh,
yeah. The whole being confident. I mean, you said like being confident in yourself is. I'm definitely living that life in some cases because, in my case, I've been married for so long and been in one relationship for so long that coming out, you just don't know who you are as an individual that's not in that marriage or in that relationship. Like I'm a whole other person.
I've been there.
Yeah. So it's like I'm single Tommy, but I'm still a dad. But I still date? You know, what do I do? You know,
you know what? I dated just because at that time I didn't want to stay in the house. Like, so the dating was a distraction to me. You know what I'm saying? But it was like salt water for me back then because dating was a distraction. But upon dating, it was like, damn, it ain't shit out here. And I gotta try to find something else in this shit. But you know, but eventually I just learned to cultivate me. You know, that's what my book is about. It was going through my divorce because I got married at 20 before I learned how to be a man. Before, you know, I was a father before I learned how to be a man. So so that's what my book was about, me finding myself and reestablishing a foundation solely on my authenticity, you know, and that's why I teach people to love yourself. However you shaped, however you look, ain't nobody meant to be this cookie cut, you know, contrast or contour figure, you know. So now everybody is just going to be shaped like it make me think of back in the day, Sarah Bartlett. They called her the Hottentot Venus, you know, and they used to put her in a sideshow and shit.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's like now they
want that.
They getting this, and they feel that it's gonna make them. I don't know, but I mean, I hope they find whatever they find, even if getting the procedures done, and if they still upset, now they can at least find what the real reason of their unhappiness was when they realized it wasn't what they thought it was. But you know, it that ultimately too still seemed like that white standard. But now it's the sideshow standard type
right shit. And that's the thing. But then it's like sideshow / you know, for the people, like I said, once again, like myself, that have been shaped that way, that people been, you know, teasing. Then it's like it's another side, because it's like, well, dang, like now y'all was sitting there talking about me, and now you want to be like me. It's like, hold on, like like where they do that at?
You can't go out the door without being harassed.
Pretty much, literally. So that's the thing. It's like, you know, with great ass comes great responsibility, and so you have to be able to recognize that if you decide that you're gonna go ahead and do that. Like I've been seeing the people talking, my back hurt, dude. I'm like, my back been hurt for 42 years. Okay, like you just new to this. I'm true to this. So don't keep talking about all this stuff. So it's just wild. But I mean, I really feel like at the end of the day, do what works best for you, but also under the circumstances that you have worked on yourself on the healing wise. Don't do it as like an scapegoat or something to go ahead and basically project whatever, you know, insecurities or something is going to be resolved by getting a particular procedure done. Because like I think I was mentioning to you, you know, earlier when we were talking, like I'm open to getting the tummy tuck just because I had 3 big babies. I have looser skin, but I'm also now back on my health journey again. And I'm taking a different direction, and I'm seeing it going down, but not looking like how it has in the past. And so now that I'm seeing that, like maybe I might not have to do that anymore, because I might just be like, okay, I just need to find a different way to do this and be more concentrated and focused on what I'm doing and consistent. That's what I needed, and now I'll probably be okay. But by the time I get to that point, my mind might change again. You know, I might be like, no, like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, why I don't want to do that? So, yeah.
And either way you feel, that's shit. That's how you feel. And that's how, I mean, shit, I love, like, I love women of all shapes and sizes. So I've never had any issue with a tummy that wasn't.
I mean, like I said, like I've never had anyone say that there's an issue with my stomach at all, and none of my body parts. So I'm like, okay, so it's a me thing.
Pull it out there, I rub it.
You know,
that fupa lock in freshness. You lift that motherfucker up and make that Tupperware burp. You know.
There you go.
And you know that shit fresh.
Exactly. Got somewhere to rest your head, you know, whatever else, maybe your arm, whatever you need to do. So I mean, hey, I've never had a complaint, but it's like it's still a me thing, you know. So that's why I'm working through those things, and that's why, you know, even with me reading the book, I also got the workbook as well too, which I'm showing if you're looking on air. Once again, it's Your Body Is Not an Apology. It's the workbook by Sonia Renee Taylor, and I'm definitely going to work through that book, because I want to just go through and see, because she was asking a lot of questions in the book, and then, you know, having you reflect. And when I was sitting there reflecting, she's like, oh, if you said, you know, yes to a certain amount, she's like, you might want to do this kind of, like, you might want to look at this section over here. And she was like, you know, if you had this one, you might want to look at this. And she wasn't like trying to shame you about it or anything, but just was saying, hey, here's some more perspectives and things for you to look at and to work through, because this is something that you're indoctrinated into. And here's ways that you can work through that so that you could be more of an advocate for radical self-love.
Right.
So soon we have a little bit of time tell us about your book. Like,
Yes.
what is the? I mean, I know you kind of touched upon it a little bit.
Oh yeah, yes sir. So it's called 12 Steps to Becoming Your Own Dope. It's available on Amazon, and it's just my journey of self-love. I had to, because when I was dating and shit, when I was in a marriage, like looking back, I realized that I always needed somebody else to love me in lieu of me loving myself type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you be hoping the love you just bathe them with hopefully kind of pours back on you as you shower them with the shit.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to first do shadow work so that I could go within me to figure out, okay, why do you feel you don't deserve to be loved correctly? Okay, is it your weight? Is it your health? Is it whatever the fuck it is? After we identify it, what are we going to do? Are we going to accept it or change it? So then through that, I was able to iron out the shit that stood in my way of allowing myself to be loved correctly. And then I loved me enough to, I learned to accept me. Through accepting me, I learned to love me. And by loving me, now I can be my biggest advocate promoting my authentic self. And that's what I've learned is when we kind of fall into our authentic self, instead of trying to be who society say we were supposed to be. Because at the time I was married, I was a Sunday school teacher. I was being groomed to be a pastor. Like throughout my life, I did shit that because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Even getting married at 20, fuck it, going to college. It was like, well, this is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Got in there, realized I wasn't going to class because all the money I had to pay tuition and books, I was in the pool hall getting that shit back. So that's what happened at UWM, and then got married because I was raised Kojic, deeply religious. So, if you doing grown up things, be grown and get married. So got married and shit. And then when I think when we was about 26, she came to a conclusion that this wasn't, and maybe she did it too because she thought this is what she was supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then when it's fucked up to find out you in a role that you really didn't want to be in. So, you can't fault anybody for shit. She chose her before I chose me type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, you wait till you 26 and had kids and a motherfucking church going husband to realize you want to start clubbing and shit. Go to the bar.
Well, the thing about that, I mean, if you go, I mean, I say this on any podcast I'm on. Yeah. Adolescent development starts to wind down at like 24. Right. That's when you start to actually really develop your
so we really do our kids a disservice pushing them into shit, or even like I was raised, don't even live with nobody until you marry. I'm telling my kids, fuck that. You need to see them in the morning when they sad, when they mad, when they irritated.
And it's funny you said it because I was raised that way too. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm like, I need to be around this person, good, bad, and ugly, and different. So I know who they are.
Because what people don't understand is it takes 6 months to 3 years for infatuation to wear off.
Yep.
And by that time, you could be married with children.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then now you going through a divorce with a motherfucker you don't even recognize.
Because you never knew him.
Because at the time, shit, they was trying to reduce me from a full-time father to seeing my kids every other weekend and getting $10.90 a month. And so it's like, damn, I thought we was coming to court trying to figure out what's fair for everybody. And you at my motherfucking neck like I did something wrong. But we do our kids a disservice pushing them into shit. And now the kids will, as adults who still going through adolescent development, we finding ourselves, finding out this ain't what we want.
Right.
And now there's other lives being affected when you decide to turn the other course. So my book is just me kind of come to terms with what I felt was my life crumbling at the time as a devout husband, father, and Christian. So I learned to have to do the work, the shadow work. I discovered meditation, all kind of stuff, because I started to deal with depression, anxiety.
So the book is about you.
It's called 12 Steps because it's 12 things I did. So
gotcha.
It's like a blueprint, because
there we go.
I actually wrote the book because people who seen me going through it was like, how did you do it?
Okay,
And
so it's like a model to.
Yeah, so I kind of got tired of telling my story, so it's like here go the book. Here go 4 chapters on. The first section is 4 things for your mind. So chapter 1, manage your attention, because your attention affects your perception. Chapter 2 is about managing your perception, because your perception affects your emotions, which affects your behavior. And then also manage your thoughts and personal development, because you can never handle a situation outside of your awareness. So if you want to see a change in your situation, you have to increase your awareness by increasing your knowledge. So them just the first 4 steps for the mind.
Man, I'm listening to you like, man, it's never too late. It's never too late to to start transitioning and changing your thinking. Because that's absolutely what it is. Like you said, perception. That's all your thought process.
Neuroplasticity.
Yeah. Yep. So all those people say, "This is how I am."
No, that's how you choose to be. It's easier to stay the same and excuse that fucked up behavior versus gathering the knowledge and doing the work to grow into something that you would like to be.
It's even more frustrating when you are a person who you're trying to acknowledge that you have some flaws and these are things you're working on, and someone is pointing them out to you all the time, but not receiving what you are saying about their flaws. Well, that's a difficult conversation.
Well, even with that, do you fuck with shadow work? Have you ever
I'm just now listening and hearing about shadow work within the last year.
Okay, yeah. A book you might like if you're a book reader is called The King, the Warrior, the Magician, and the Lover. And it's talking about men coming into divine masculinity, and it breaks down how every man has those 4 aspects of themselves, but each one of those 4 aspects has a bipolar shadow. So the king,
the warrior, the what?
The king, the warrior, the mission. Yeah. So the king, when he's operating at his highest duty, he brings order to the kingdom. He brings prosperity to the kingdom. He rules with love and compassion. The positive shadow of the king is the tyrant who rules, with just insidiousness, no compassion, shit like that. The passive or negative aspect or shadow of the king is the weakling who don't take his throne at all. He's the one that sit on the couch and let his woman go to work, or his mama raise him type shit. So that's just the aspect of the king. But then it breaks down the magician, and each one of those we all have. But shadow work really helped me to dive into me, because when I was going through my depression, like I tell people, I wanted to go into the darkest corner, the darkest room in my house, and just fucking sit there and wait to waste away. But while I was sitting there wasting away, I started in that silence. You start having that conversation with yourself. Like, why are you so mad about this? Well, it shouldn't have been my marriage. It should have been every nigga marriage who was cheating and beating. And it's like, okay, what the fuck that got to do with you? Evidently, you weren't doing what you needed to do in your marriage. So how can you learn from this shit? So you got to have that shadow work, teach you to have those difficult conversations. I can't blame anybody. Right. You know what I'm saying? At that time, I was very ambitious. I'm still ambitious, but I'm a cap rising, you know what I'm saying? So it's about that achievements. So there were times that I could have been a lot softer and a lot more family oriented versus goal oriented or ambitious. So it's just identifying where you zigged, where you should have zagged, and ironing them kinks out so that you can be someone who you feel deserves the love that you actually seek, and not of others, after already learning how to get that love to yourself.
So Tommy, make sure you get the book.
I got it sitting right here.
Okay.
Hey, if you don't want to pay for it, the audio version is on YouTube.
Word, because the book is only $6.99.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I listen to the audio while I read.
Yeah, I try to do that too. I have
just read to me.
No, I guess because I have to see it and hear it at the same time.
Well, they say that it helps you process faster and retain more information.
Right.
They say you can get through a book a lot quicker and retain the information if you read along to the audio.
I haven't read a book in about 4 months, so it's probably time. It's probably that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at least reading one at least once a month.
Yeah, I was on a streak but then I fell off.
Yeah, I just got a new book because I'm working on my second actual book because I did publish the Gratitude Journal, but this second book is just so my first book goal is to help people get their mind right because I believe that the revolution ain't televised because the revolution starts in your mind.
Right.
So the first book is how to get your mind right, then your body right, and then your spirit right. So those the 3 different sections of my 12 steps. But this book is about how to make money from home off of your laptop and phone so that we can have people more present in home so these kids can be raised. So I'm just doing 40 things. It's called 40 Ways to Get $40. So as I look into that, I got a book called Sex Workers, Psychics, and Number Runners. It's about the old time Harlem, how Black women were still in the underground economy, being able to take care of themselves at a time where like white flight had happened. So Harlem buildings were still owned by Jews and whites. So they were renting it to the Black folks at exorbitant amounts. So the Black folks start doing like rent parties. And so it just talks about that shit. And the reason I got that book is because I do got a section, you know, I want to dedicate at least 10 of my 40 ways to ways of getting money that may be a bit more risque than other people would like to, you know. But at the end of the day, I don't believe there's any shame in being able to provide for yourself. Right. So, you know, as long as you move in a way that is empowering to you and isn't hurting anybody that isn't informed,
which is the key thing, being informed.
Right. Informed consent. You know, as long as you got informed consent, do whatever the fuck you do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's my book.
Where can we find the book? As I'm looking up this book,
the psychics, the one about the psychics.
No, yours.
Oh, it's on Amazon, but I got one in the car. I can give it to you.
I'm about purchasing, man. Come on, got support.
Yeah, well, shit, you still in my head, but I got a box of. I keep a box of them in the car just in case.
Yeah. Just like how I do up the body butters. We keep our stuff on deck.
I grew up off Master P. You serve out the trunk. You know,
absolutely.
right.
It's my legal hustle.
But no, it's so true. Like everything that you're saying, though, is very, very true, and it's really something that can pertain to men and women. Right. It's not a, you know, any kind of I shouldn't even say men or women, just gender roles, period. That it can be whoever and whatever you're going through and trying to work through. Here's a blueprint. And of course you can skip around on different parts too. If you've already gone through it, then you can go to the next step.
And you know what I'm learning? Cause I try to do a lot of shit on TikTok, like little 3-minute sermonettes or something just to help somebody. And I'm learning there's like a whole lane for like divorce grief counseling. Because it damn near is a death. It's a death
it is a form of grief.
It's a like even your friends that knew you as so and so and so and so, you damn near don't even want to go around them because they don't know how to fuck with y'all without each other. Like,
well, that's even funny you saying that because my niece's father, which is funny, is my ex-husband's sister's ex-husband. Okay.
Yep.
Keep me running with me. All right. One more time. So it is my ex-husband's sister's ex-husband. Okay. So he was sending a message to me and my ex-husband regarding the kids because he wanted to take them camping with my niece.
Okay. Right.
And so I looked at because my ex-husband was like, I'm not getting the message. So I screenshotted him and sent it to him in Messenger because they started a group chat with me in it.
Yeah.
Well, then he also, like, we both sent it at the same time.
Yeah.
He still had my married name in the contact. And I was like, oh shit, like, no, take that off. Like, fix that right away. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's been a long time. Like, hold on. But I'm like, Sarita, why you just like trip out like that just when seeing your name like that? But it's like because I'm so far removed from the situation that I was like, dang, I really was married to this dude for like almost 10 years.
And people get to knowing y'all as the unit, not as the individuals. And so even with that, it's like I ain't gonna say you lose friendships, but you do tend to like just for not being awkward sake, you even fall back on those folks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to that weekly spade game no more.
Yeah. I mean, it's
not going to the game, any of the game nights. Like
awkward around the holidays and whatnot.
Yep.
Like, you go, you not go. Of course you come. Like, Yeah, I know, but
Mhm.
it ain't the same.
Right. Or
Right,
even
right.
to like pictures at the house and stuff too. Because like my mother-in-law, my former mother-in-law, she still had our family pictures up. He's remarried.
Yeah.
And so he's been like, oh, well, you should probably do something about that. I'm like,
That's her family. That's
them.
your part of her
Right,
family.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
And you can't do anything about what she
Right.
has at her house.
exactly.
But yeah, so it's just it's a whole lane, and that's what I'm, because people had questions. Like when I post shit, they like, well, how did you? So it's like, damn, maybe I need to write another book with that. Because like whenever
Yeah.
people come with questions, it's like shit, I get kind of tired of answering the same questions. Let me format them in a book type shit.
Mhm.
But
No, that's
yeah,
very
that
true.
divorce, the life after divorce, there is life after divorce, and
Very much so.
and,
Trust
and,
me.
and
You looking at
honestly,
looking at
my
three people here.
mine seemed to do
Right.
mine seems to do a bit better. That like I didn't want it to end, but like shit, like I tell people, it was our combined credit that was stopping me from buying my house.
Mhm.
As soon as that shit was nullified, I was able to get my crib.
Yeah. And so it's being able to go ahead and look at, what can because the thing is too, I feel like often when you're going through, and just not even divorce, but just anything in general, you're really freeing space,
Right.
and providing now the opportunity for you to be able to go ahead and go for the things that you might have been putting back or putting
Right.
off because of the situation that you were in, which really wasn't the true situation for you.
Right.
Because if you in the
it was just for that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was just
And
about
then
to say.
oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you good. that means we on the both on the
Right,
same
right.
thing.
Because I mean, I've learned like now that I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
I was that Bible thumping dude back then. Now I meditate, I garden. So I can't even see how that would have still worked now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it allowed it's all. But now with me gardening, I see how as plants grow, they shed those lower leaves that no longer serve
Mhm.
them. So you gotta look at it as I grow, I will shed leaves, and I can't determine which leaves I shed.
That's
But
true.
I also know that it's just for a reallocation of my energy into fertile growth type shit.
Mhm. No, absolutely. And that's the thing that you really have to go ahead and look at it. But I know sometimes it's hard to see it that way when you're in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can't see it at all because you just like dead in the middle of it. And sometimes, right. And sometimes you can have people that can, sprinkle a couple things every now and again to kind of have you thinking. And then that's when you can start to, pull yourself out as well, too.
But even then, it's when you decide. Because people used to be around, like my homie Ed, I didn't even realize he was doing it at the time. I guess maybe they thought I was suicidal, but like he would come stay the night at my crib on the couch, and I was like, damn, he got a whole house. Why he keep choosing to be over here? But now that I look back, that nigga was babysitting me,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And for him to not make it so obvious, but now looking back though, it's like it's just growing pains. You know what I'm saying? That isolation comes before elevation.
Yep.
And that's what looking back has taught me, and that's why I try to share with anybody. Like, hey, I've been there. I thought there was no way out this shit. I didn't think there was anything after this shit.
Yep.
But it get greater later if you do the work.
And that even can go for like when you're, like losing your parents and things too. Because I will even say, like for myself, looking at after my mother's transition and seeing how, I always would say, and I would just say jokingly, like if whatever something happens to my parents, like it's gonna be a rough, like you don't have to put me in a padded room. Like I used to always joke around and say that type of stuff. And then when it really happened, I'm like, I can't even fold because I gotta handle this. There's nobody else that can.
Kids, you still got life, and then you trying to figure out. Yeah, and I appreciate my boys. They 19 and 18 now, but I really appreciate my sons for bearing with their father as he was still being a father going through his depression. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Because even though I tried to fake it and shit like that, I know they could see it.
Yeah, no.
It took an effort for me to get out the bed and smile in front of them and do my goofy ass shit. And I'm just like feel like a weight on the inside.
Yeah.
I feel like a weight on my chest, But they seen it. But what helped me is I understood that as they got older, they will also remember how I tried. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit what I did to try. And like I said, they 18, 19 now, beautiful young men who who doing their thing,
Mhm.
and it was us raising each other, I guess.
No, definitely. I was gonna say similar, too, with me having my son. My son's gonna be 24 in September. And just like looking at him, and we've had those conversations about those different times and
Yeah.
things too, where I've apologized to him, and it's been very beautiful to sit and like talk with him, and him being like, "Ma, you don't even got to do that." He's like,
Yeah.
I already forgave you
Mm.
because I knew that you were going through something at that time, and
Yeah,
not
they
to
know.
mention too,
They know.
you were a kid, when you had me. Like,
Right.
it's like we really literally were raising each other. It's like he was like my little brother, like not even like my son. I'm just like trying like okay, we'll figure this out together,
Right.
Type shit. And then seeing how it's really, come full circle where
Right.
now he, he's checking on me, he making sure things are good. And he'll come and get his siblings, every now and again, and kind of give me a break, if he's seeing like there's a lot going on, or he see that I got stuff happening. He's like, okay, Ma, I'm gonna come get them this Sunday. Don't worry about them or whatever, I got him. I'll bring it back later. You just do whatever it is you need to get done. I'm like, cool. So being able to really step in and just see those things. And it's like, he's volunteering to do these. Not like I'm like saying like, please come get him.
Right, right.
He literally be like,
Right.
hey, we're gonna do something together or
doing
whatever.
Because he want to do
right.
it. That
You
makes
know,
it even better.
Exactly. And so it's like I appreciate those different things, but recognizing too all the stuff that they also witnessed. And I
Right,
wish
right.
they didn't have to, but then at the same token, like you said, they really are learning now the different coping techniques that they can use as well too, and also
Right.
too what not to do,
Right,
necessarily with the situation.
Right.
So as we if we were to close, because we're close to it,
Yes, we are.
what would be the closing remarks regarding a relationship with your body? Because we didn't even touch upon the mental as much as we're talking about the physical,
Right.
and the outward physical.
Mhm.
Because I don't even think we talk about the outward physical. I think people talk about the mental more so than anything, like the relationship with your outer body and and how you is there anything that coming from this conversation that would change your perception of your outer body? Sound like he's got his under control. Like,
yeah, I feel like I'm pretty much,
still in the journey.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's an ongoing journey, I think. But for me now to be able to go ahead and do what's called mirror work, essence, talking to myself in the mirror, actually looking at it, touching different parts of my body and telling those parts that I love them and for what they've done for me. Doing those different things are things that have helped me to go ahead and have that mind-body connection, and also, process that love. So that's for me, is something that I, recommend to my clients to do as well too, because the thing is, even with what I do, it's your lifestyle. So everything ends up being affected. So it's a matter of, how you feel about yourself, the way your perception of yourself, all those things are still going to come into play. So it's just more or less, having additional tools that you can go ahead and use to be able to continue working through it. And there's always going to be different things that can, potentially trigger you. But it's more or less, how are you going to, process it? How quickly are you going to kind of recover from it? Based off of the tools that you're using. So it's possible.
I think everybody says before you love somebody else, you got to love yourself, kind of thing. Right. I know that's such a cliche type of statement, but it's the most powerful movement. And loving yourself doesn't mean like you hate yourself, but more so, like you said, embracing what you are, and telling yourself this, you are great, you are beautiful, you are you are attractive in all parts, and that's where that confidence comes from. Because I've recognized, I recognize tracks. He just walks in with a bop, like yeah,
he's smooth,
like
dude.
fuck the world, like really.
Smooth,
and I know a lot of cats like that. There's some cats that I know that I went to high school with and college. Like, man, they're not the most like handsome fellas, but they pulled the baddest chicks. Like, they had the baddest chicks.
It's
and
all about
it's
your
like
mindset,
about the confidence, and that it just brought a different energy to the table. And just recognizing that's,
we sometimes call it swag.
I haven't actually all. Shall you take this? Is my co-host, Sean S. Dot. What's up?
Hey, S. Dot.
Having that swag. I've always been who I am. Like, I'm always been a square dude. That's who I am. And honestly, I'm now offended that that's the new cool.
See, just like me, man. Bullies are in being a.
That's new cool. Like, man, I'm the one who's been ribbed my glasses. I'm the one who's been ribbed for talking white. I'm the one who's been ribbed for being smart. I'm the one who I read books. I mean, now all of a sudden being a nerd and being being
blurred.
Yeah. That's cool now.
I dealt with it too. Like shit, I'm wearing a Quidditch shirt.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you said I got my Harry Potter on.
But I think
I
thankfully
was.
I thankfully grew up on Sesame Street that told me it was hip to be a square.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on Revenge of the Nerds, so it was. It actually helped me out because I'm the oldest of 5, so there's 4 others after me that my parents had to take care of. So I didn't always have like the best shit. I mean, I had good shit, but no, I had the best shit. It just wasn't what other people would consider name brand or shit. And I didn't even think about stuff like that. Like I wasn't raised like that. Right. I was cool with Ninja Turtle shoes. They didn't have to be Jordans because I don't fuck with Jordan. I don't watch sports like but even growing up, because I couldn't depend on flashy cars or nice clothes or the latest shit, I had to develop my mind and my conversation. And now as an adult, it helps me understand that it's my mind and my conversation that makes impact. Yep. There's a lot of cute ass niggas out here. You know what I'm saying?
But they can't talk worth a damn. Exactly. They cannot have a conversation. Trust me.
By me,
y'all step it up.
By me having to, by me having the time to develop my intelligence and just my conversation, it's just added to my repertoire, and it don't hurt that I'm not hard on the eyes, that. But because I didn't know that until I was an adult, I didn't understand I was handsome until I was an adult. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I damn near didn't understand I was handsome until I was already married. And it's just like, oh, now all y'all want to come out. Right. But so I developed other aspects of me that actually penetrate deeper than just being a cute dude with flashy shit. That shit can be taken away, and shit cute can be ruined by not getting lined up with some shit.
Or even, and that's also subjective as well too. And I actually, like how you mentioned that, because it's funny that kind of clicks for me, because I really didn't think that I was attractive until I was, 20s, married, like all that kind of stuff like that. But then I'm like, okay, but then like you said, developing those different things, because oftentimes when I talk to people, they'll say, just as far as like my conversation and everything like that, and seeing like, you have a big heart, all those different things like that. And it's like, it's like, developing your character, and the things that cannot be taken away from you.
Exactly.
Like, looks can be taken away, money, all those different types of things. But it's like my heart and the way that I treat other people, the way that I, talk with other people, the way I go ahead and build them up and not, wanting to pull them down or anything, and show them that there are other options that are available to them and that there are solutions. You might not like the solution, but there's always a solution for every problem.
And it's just that, like, I'm learning when I've learned to love myself enough to be genuine and authentic. I learned that genuineness is addictive. Yeah. Because people aren't used to it. Feel good being around somebody that, I tell people, most people may put their guard down. They may put their weapons down, but it's rare that a motherfucker gonna take off that mask.
Right.
So when you around somebody that you can put your guard down and take your mask off around, it becomes a sensation that
superpower.
Yeah, and people people love and crave to be in the presence of someone that they know has genuine love and no ulterior motive. So thankfully, because I had to cultivate other aspects of my character, I was forced to authentically and genuinely love myself. Therefore, I can create that genuine love and authentic space that gives others the courage to show who they truly are.
Right. And definitely giving the safe space and the vulnerability.
Right.
And like my best friend was saying the other night, he's like a soft place to land.
Type shit,
because, often we don't have those soft spaces to land at. Right. And going into comments here, Esther said, I think I was handsome until I was like 21. See? And he said, now you can't tell me nothing.
I mean,
that's
Right.
Dude has his own fan page.
Oh, see.
Hey, there you go.
He started the whole fan page. Then you can go look up S. Dot and it's all him. So you know,
Maybe I need to do one of those for myself.
Love
you know,
yourself. Hey. But
Right.
Man, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
It's a pleasure being here. I appreciate y'all.
I missed the Mind Your Business podcast last night, so actually I ran in here and ran out, but I didn't hear anything that was going on. So it's a pleasure meeting you tonight, and I should have known that you would have been savvy enough to scoop them up. Like, hey.
Well, no, like I said, he was supposed to be on like the second episode, the one that now is the infamous second episode.
Oh, the one that's the unseen.
Yeah, the unseen that probably on the Patreon. He was supposed to be at that episode, and he wasn't able to make it. So, you know, being able to come through now just came full circle.
Right.
And see, we have a comment. It's now S. Dot all day.
All day. That's that page. I showed it on the breakfast sandwich one time. It was like, we was laughing about it,
and now it's just blowing up. Look at it.
But hey, so I don't have anything coming up, anything new. But you know the TDR kickback is July 29th.
Correct.
Are you one of the shows for the kickback?
I am going to be actually a vendor.
Okay,
and then the next day, Calm Wellness Integrated Center is going to be having the grand opening as well too, which I will be working out of there as a collaborative effort.
Right.
Doing workshops and just a bunch of different things.
If you're not familiar with the Calm Wellness Center, it is on Green Bay Road, right before you get to Mill Road. Like it's right
in
next
Glendale.
In Glendale. So it's if you're going south, you're going to be at Goody Gourmet, and then there is the brick, and then it's Calm. You'll miss it if you blink, but that spot is phenomenal. Like she gave a walkthrough. I was like, man, this is like a little mini mansion. Created created to be a wellness spot. So she's got massage. She's got social work. She's got some psychologists. She's got mental health, all the different things that you need. It's definitely
pain management, which would be yours truly.
Pain management,
as well, art therapy. So I mean, it's a lot of different modalities. Reiki as well.
I said that y'all gonna be in there working. I'm just gonna come from upstairs, like from the fourth floor.
Which robe on, just walking through, come to the kitchen, trying to get some eat.
There is a refrigerator there. I'm just making me a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? But the kickback is the 29th. That's going to be showcasing a lot of podcasts. After that, the next day is the Calm Wellness Center's grand opening and vending event. You can be vending there too, or you just
I'm
doing 2 days in a row.
Yes, 2 days in a row.
Congratulations
for that. Thank you. I'm just gonna be going ahead and showing the self-care line that I have as well too. That's part of my business because it all comes back to your lifestyle, and self-care is a big piece. When it comes to working with your pain management.
And also, that's what she said.
Absolutely. That's what she said will still continuously be going on with 98.3 as well. And then I also am in the process of releasing my my course, which is the Alleviation Agenda. It is an 8-week intro to holistic pain management. So if that is something that you're interested in, definitely go ahead and DM me. This is him. Go show because it's been his life.
Headache in my piece. I'm pushing P.
You get all the buttons tonight for that.
Sharing everything, and of course, I know you got your paintings for sale, sir. And what else we got going on?
Yeah, we do have Cam Beats, the artist, formerly known as Tommy. The Cam Beats art show is moved from, unfortunately, the second level of the balcony because Happy Days Day Bar is no longer with us. But I have moved my artwork down to the gallery in the basement, so you can come down to the basement of Sherman Phoenix and check out the artwork there. Not quite sure. It's supposed to be there till September. So if you get an opportunity, you get to see the workings of Cam Beats, the 3 years of time during the pandemic and beyond that, the work that came out of that, all dedicated to hip hop. It's called Heads Ain't Ready. Just different aspects of hip hop that kind of came to fruition when I was sitting around twiddling my thumbs and whatnot. Also, Can Beats Art Space is located in the venue at Vibes Creative Art Space. We'll be actually advertising another art show. I need to actually post that. It's actually next week, Thursday, I believe, but I'll post the details of that. So thank you.
Okay.
And you said we can find your book.
Yeah.
Plug all your social media. And also too, I'm Chronically Resilient on Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So you can find my book, 12 Steps to Becoming Your Own Dope. It is available on Amazon. Also on Facebook, I am Higher Frequency. HIGHERFREAKUENCY. I'm on that's the same for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, where I'm trying to just do more content on doing like 1 minute to 3 minute sermonettes and snippets on self-love and mind science, and just understanding the benefits and power of authentically loving yourself enough to show your true self to the world. That's when your soul tribe finds you.
Yeah.
Well, just for my interaction with you right now, you are that dude that you saw that was slick. Like that's you to me right now. Like,
I appreciate that.
You got that swag for me, so I appreciate that, man. What has taken over Patrice's spot? We don't know. All I know is that my artwork was removed and I moved it down here.
And all I know is that I wanted to go up there to say hi to everybody, and there's no one there.
No, they didn't strip the walls and everything.
Yes, everything's gone.
It's over. They did that just that fast. But I promise we will be back again another Friday.
Yes,
another Friday, and I would. My schedule in the summer is actually easier to maintain. This is around my birthday that caused some problems, which about to do with. Because I have my daughter 1 week on, 1 week off in the summer, it makes for more flexibility during that time. So that whole like pick her up on Friday, the day that I record on Friday, it gets kind of a little rough. But
I understand.
We here now. Now.
We back together. The band is back together. Angela, Renee, and Angela.
Ashford
and Simpson. You Ice Cube and Yo-Yo.
All right. We will see y'all in a week. Is that 2 weeks?
Yeah, not next week, but the week after.
The following, the week after next. So with no further ado, we bid you adieu.
Love y'all.
Peace.
I got numbers in my phone that'll never ring again, cause a lot done sent them home and they'll never, I got numbers on my phone that'll never ring again, cause a lot of call them home, so until we sing again. I got texts in my phone that'll never ping again. I screenshot them so I got them. I don't want this thing to. I got numbers in my phone that'll never ring again.